Hello friends, hope you're doing well. Today is our first lesson from our first training group, which is made up of participants who are eager to learn and develop their skills together. In this session, we will be exploring challenges that are specifically related to products based on polymers, including understanding their properties and considering how these materials are used in different applications. It's titled Checklist. As I previously mentioned, this comprehensive and detailed training course is a 6-hour program, and we've decided to make 1 full hour of this course available for free on our channel for your benefit. I hope these lessons will be beneficial for you. Of course, it's only natural that we simply can't cover many of the important details in such a short amount of time. However, if you're interested, you can always purchase our comprehensive training package, or we can conduct a live online workshop for you, or if possible, we can even come to your factories in person to provide you with this specialized training. Nevertheless, I have made a conscious effort to ensure that I have included all of the key points and important details that you will need in these 10-minute training packs, which we have thoughtfully and carefully prepared for you. These packs are designed to provide you with the essential information in a concise format, making it easier for you to absorb and apply what you learn. As I mentioned, our first topic is about the challenges faced by polyindustrial sectors that use polymer materials. Again, as we discussed and as I mentioned in the first video, I am obliged to briefly explain the topics that will be covered in this course. After that, our main and more comprehensive training sessions will actually begin in the following upcoming videos. So this particular video essentially serves as a helpful checklist, making sure that you are fully prepared and have everything you need before. Look, friends, you've probably noticed that there are many industries that use the same raw materials. They're basically working with similar equipment and processes, but the quality of their products in 2 factories producing the same item can be completely different. Here, we're not talking at all about which polymer fertilizer you're using or whether your polymer fertilizer is right or wrong, because God willing, we will thoroughly discuss that very important topic on Thursday during the dedicated Thursday training sessions, which specifically focus on the crucial aspect of formulation. I highly and strongly recommend that you attend those valuable training sessions and also watch them as well, so that I can actually talk to you there in more detail about choosing the absolutely right polymer fertilizer for your specific needs. For now, let's just assume that you have already carefully chosen the correct and appropriate polymer fertilizer, but your unique products are still not quite the same as your competitors' products, which is an important distinction. Or you're not reaching that level of production or those standards that you desire. So after we can solve this problem, what should we do next? We need to prepare a checklist. The importance of this checklist is very high because the sections I'm about to tell you should be included in this checklist. It shows you a few things. First of all, with this checklist, you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where the problem is. That is to say, you'll know exactly at which point in your production process your weakness lies. Secondly, you'll also realize why you're behind your competitors, or if you want to get ahead of your competitor, you'll know which point you need to strengthen. Also, it's really about understanding your machinery and identifying the critical points that should exist in your production line. You'll gain a complete understanding of those areas and become aware of the error rates. So the reason I insisted that our very first video should be about checklists is because I want to tell you this. What should be included in this checklist? Then each of these parameters will be discussed in the videos on the upcoming Mondays and the Mondays after that, and so on the same dates that I already announced to you and also wrote on the slide, God willing for you. The explanations for this code. Well, friends, the first item on the checklist that's really important for you is the topic of your product's data sheet. Here, we're not talking at all about whether you've chosen the right polymer code or not. I recommend that you definitely check out our 5 comb days training course, which is about formulation. But watch it, because there we go into detail about how to choose your raw materials. So you can be sure that these raw materials are suitable for your production. We'll talk about that. Now, let's assume that you've chosen the correct polymer code and the data sheet for the product is in your hands. Unfortunately, based on my experience, many production managers actually just assume that, well, it's a raw material, its specifications are clear, and with that information, they go ahead and produce. They do this without knowing about each and every detail written in the data sheet and the importance of those details. Next Monday, we'll have a training session which will be a bit condensed. I'll be conducting this training in a very short time, and if you get the full package now, I can explain this topic to you much more comprehensively. We'll talk about which parameters in the datasheet of polymeric materials are actually more important, and these parameters show you which part of your production line you need to focus on, what actions you should take in that section, and what settings you need to adjust there so that your product quality is as high as possible and you get the best use out of that polymer material. So you can make the most of the polymer you've purchased. That's why I highly recommend that, if possible, you join us. Subscribe so that, God willing, when our instructional video is released next week, it will be sent to you immediately and you can watch it at the right time. The next topic that we will discuss and teach coming up on the 29th of the month will be an important one, and is the topic of additives. You see, additives are extremely, extremely, extremely important in products that are based on polymer materials. That is how important it is to choose the right polymer code. Additives are just as important. And now, in that additives training course, additives are so important that I have dedicated several hours just to a separate educational package for them. But I'm forced to very briefly, in a 10-minute window, provide you with the essential materials that I can cover superficially. In that session, we will actually talk about what types of additives are usually needed for polymer materials, and how, if additives are chosen correctly, they can benefit you, and if chosen incorrectly, where they can cause you harm. It's not just about the selection either. The amount of additives used is also very important. Now, again, in that training course that we are going to present, I will explain more about it and point out which details you should pay closer attention to. The next item you should include in your checklist is environmental conditions. The reality is that, well, in polymeric materials, environmental conditions play a very important role. That is, if there are several factories that actually produce a similar product, and one of them manufactures in Germany and another one manufactures in Canada and another one manufactures in Australia, it's possible that the quality of their products will be completely different from each other, because the impact of environmental conditions on the quality of polymer products is very significant, and sometimes this effect is overlooked by production managers. In a video that I think is scheduled for the 6th month, actually in the future, we are going to present this to you. I will tell you which environmental parameters are actually more important and how you should, in practice, adjust them, as well as the common mistakes that unfortunately have become widespread but are incorrect. Experience has shown that some of the current adjustments people make are not always effective. Being made are actually wrong settings and have a negative effect on the quality of your product. I'll try to keep it very brief in this video and explain the topic to you, but in the main video, we will discuss this in much more detail. The next topic on our checklist is machinery and equipment. You see, some equipment is specifically used for polymer-related work, like the extruder machine. I strongly recommend that if you are using polymer materials in your production line, you definitely follow our Wednesday training sessions, because the extruder is a very fundamental machine, but many people consider it a simple device. However, it can play a major role in determining the quality of your polymer products, and we've tried to include the experiences we've gained in that training package for you. So I recommend that you follow our extruder training course on Wednesdays. But aside from the extruder, there are other machines that are used in the production process of manufacturing lines that utilize polymer materials. And there are also certain devices that are absolutely necessary to have in the quality control section of such factories. Some people might sometimes neglect them, but these devices actually provide you with very important and essential parameters. I have also previously talked about this topic in the advertising section, and God willing, in the video that we are going to teach and present on October 13th, I will definitely mention the names of these pieces of equipment there, explain which areas and aspects they will clarify for you, and what effects they can have on the overall quality of your products. Awareness of equipment and machinery is extremely important for those who are working with polymer materials, and we will make sure to share the essential and key points with you here. As I mentioned before, I suggest you subscribe to our channel so that when this video is released, you'll be notified and can watch it at the right time. The last topic that I have planned for you in this Monday course, I have named it as follows. These are common mistakes, but in fact, they are very minor parameters, minor yet important, that can actually affect the quality of your product. It's necessary to add them to your own checklist. These items can include parameters that are actually common human errors and common mistakes in production line techniques. You select the best machines, you procure the best raw materials, you check your environmental conditions, but still, you see that the quality of your product is lower than that of your competitors. Well, there are some very subtle points that are actually very easy to check. But because they're so minor, they're usually overlooked. I will discuss these points with you in the final session of the Monday training course. It's better to add those parameters to your checklist as well, and I hope that after finishing this training course, by preparing this checklist yourself, you'll realize what problems you had in your production line and work to resolve them. Of course, this short training pack might not be enough, and if you find that your problem is solved, we'll be very happy. But if you see that it's not sufficient and you need more information, or there are aspects you don't know how to address, we recommend that you get our complete training pack. We also have the capability to hold workshops for you online, or if possible, to come to your factory in person. Thank you very much for your support. My final request is that just as you have supported and followed us so far, please be sure to leave your feedback and comments for us. Please share your experiences with us. If there is something you have experienced and your results were different from ours and you achieved better outcomes, please be sure to share it with us. We would be happy to know about it, and we will definitely share it in a video. And if there are any issues or problems that you think of as questions in your mind, you can send your questions to us either as a comment or directly via email. The email address is actually written below this video. You can also leave us a comment and we will try to respond to your comments as soon as possible. I wish success to all of you. Have a nice day. Best of luck.